What is up, guys? This is the M20 Construct foam dart blaster made by the Singaporean company SABRE. I'm just going to be upfront and say it, in the best way possible, this is a very special blaster. And with a price tag of 850 Singaporean dollars, it would want to be. If this is out of your budget, SABRE do have a payment plan which lets you pay it off interest-free over the span of a year. But honestly, this kind of blaster is for a very specific kind of user. I think it's for someone who wants a ridiculously high quality blaster rather than having a garage full of budget blasters that probably combined add up to around the same value. Price aside, today I'll be covering everything there is to know about the M20 Construct. Now that includes a chrony test with 2 different springs, an accuracy test with 2 different springs, and a range test with the 2 different springs.
69. Giggity.
But let's get started with an overview of the blaster. The M20 Construct is a foam dart blaster which fires only the superior half-length dart standard. It's a spring-powered blaster, and you cock the spring with a shotgun grip at the front, which also loads your next shot. From the piston to the exit of the barrel, everything has a perfect air seal, and the purpose-built barrel with internal rifling makes sure your shots are dead accurate. The M20 Construct comes in 3 different colours, the tan that you see here, as well as nature green and storm grey. SABRE plan to add more colours such as white eventually too. Build quality is what sets this blaster apart from pretty much anything else out there. There's not a single part of this that's 3D printed. The exterior body of the blaster is injection moulded Delrin, with the thickest point being somewhere around the mag well at 9.6mm thick. Overall, without any attachments, it weighs 2.3 kilograms. So you could say it's like a brick. I mean, it does kind of look the shape of one. But aside from the Delrin parts, everything else is fully machined aluminium. That includes an internal spine that runs the entire length of the blaster, the stock adjustment bars, the barrel, the breech, the piston, sear, trigger, and mag release lever. The Picatinny top rail is also metal, and the shotgun grip has metal Picatinny rails too. On both sides of the blaster are M-lock slots, where you can attach M-lock accessories such as the Picatinny rail segment that I have here. The M20 Construct doesn't come with a grip or a foregrip. This is due to the import restrictions of some countries where the grip could be considered a firearms part, and that would get it blocked as it enters the country. If you've never used a motor grip before, under this cover there are 2 bolts which fasten it to the blaster. The aluminium barrel of the M20 Construct unscrews for maintenance or for compact transport, and it does this by using a Delrin barrel nut. The barrel has a 13mm internal diameter and a 16mm outer diameter, and in total it is 50 centimeters in length. It has built-in string-based rifling, which looks to me to be about a quarter turn. So it's similar to a Blastertech Scar on the 4th notch, for instance. And this particular barrel is optimized for the 14 kilogram spring, which the M20 comes with. There's also a stronger spring I'll be testing today too that they sent me, but the longer 80 centimeter barrels optimized for that one won't be ready until next year. The M20 Construct is compatible with your standard half-length dart mags, such as Talon mags, which are made by Worker, or Katana mags, which are made by Jet Blaster. With the breech closed, it takes a bit of force to get your mags in, and less force to get them back out. But ideally, you want to have the breech open when inserting or removing a mag. And if you do it right, the mag will fall easily out just from gravity. The buttstock is adjustable. There's a switch on the bottom which allows you to collapse it fully. Personally, I prefer it fully extended, but this will depend on the user's arm length. Finally, the M20 Construct has the smoothest priming action I've ever used. It has linear guide rails inside, one you can see here at the bottom, and one is above the barrel. Because there's 2, one at the bottom and one at the top, there's absolutely no movement side to side with the shotgun grip. And because of how smooth the prime is, the spring ends up feeling lighter to cock than it has any right to be. Conrad, who is my contact at SABRE, has told me that with an 8 kilo spring, his young daughter, who's 8 years old, can use this blaster easily, and it still hits velocities around 180 feet per second. To show you how this blaster is capable of such high velocities, let's head inside and open this blaster up and show you the internals. First, I'm going to show you how you'd go about swapping out the spring. You need to do this to access the internals anyway, so here I'm just removing the screw on either side of the buttstock. Then I pull out the buttstock and remove it from the blaster. Now I'm removing a nut that attaches to a threaded rod which runs the entire length of the blaster. From here on, I need to apply downward pressure on the metal plate as I remove the bottom 2 bolts. If you don't apply this downwards pressure, you could risk shooting your spring across the room or possibly even stripping the nuts. With the metal plate removed, the spring comes straight out. And from here on, it's very straightforward. Just remove the AEG motor grip with the 2 bolts inside it, undo every other bolt you can see, and when you've done all that, you should get something that looks like this. The metal sear actually stayed in the other half of the blaster, but it has a spring that keeps it pulled in position to lock your piston in place. The sear gets pushed on by the trigger to fire the blaster. The mag release is also spring loaded, and now that the blaster is open, you can actually see both of the linear guide rods for the shotgun grip, which gives it that smooth prime. You might have also noticed the breech isn't centered with the cylinder, and that's to allow space for that top linear guide rod. The piston is also aluminium and has some nice padding on the front. The cylinder has about a 35mm internal diameter, and the draw length is about 140mm. In total air volume of the cylinder, this is somewhere between a Talon Claw version 4 and the original Caliburn. Now let's seal this thing back up and see how it performs with the spring that it comes with, the 14kg spring. In terms of velocity with the 14kg spring, it averaged around the 260 feet per second mark, with some lows around 250 and highs around 270. Pretty consistent, but chrony tests don't really tell you much. Instead, let's see how far this thing shoots.
Okay, so now I want to see how far the shots go. I've got this device, which is a laser rangefinder, and I'm going to be shooting from alongside this tree here, down towards the end fence down there, and I'll be able to point this back at this tree while standing on top of where one of the darts landed to tell you how far it went. I'll do, the first 3 shots will be level with the horizon, and then the last 3 shots will be aiming up a bit to get the maximum range. Level shots. And now angled. Alright, let's put this down, take the rangefinder and see where the shots went. Now you can see there is a shot here. The other 2 actually bounced and went further than this, but this one actually stayed where it initially hit. This is the flat shot, level with the horizon. 37 meters. So now let's find the arced shots. And I saw they were going, yeah, there's one of the bounces from where it hit there. But the arced shots were going past this fallen tree. Oh, here's one. This one is 59 meters. And we have 1 and 2 fresh darts from this shooting today, about a meter further, so 60 meters. And this one here is an old dart, you can see it's faded.
So there you have it, 60 meters is the maximum range of the 14kg spring, and shooting level with the horizon, the shots dropped a little bit shorter due to gravity at 37 meters. Now, let's find out how accurate this thing shoots.
Alright. This target is about 1 meter in diameter. And we're going to be shooting it from 30 meters away. Alright, we're going to be shooting at this 30 meter target, 10 shots, and I'm going to put my red dot on the very top of the target. Because of gravity, it should hit the very center. That's all the shots. We'll consult the DSLR for the grouping.
So if the diameter of the target is 1 meter, the M20 shot just under a 50 centimeter grouping at 30 meters. Though the variation was mostly on the vertical axis, and human targets are usually taller than they are wide. It also obviously means I need to zero my sight better, so the shots all land in the center where I was aiming. But that doesn't affect the results, and overall this is a very accurate foam dart blaster. Now, if you remember, Sabre also sent me an 18 kilo spring, which, also remember, is not designed for this barrel. A longer 800mm barrel is coming next year to make use of this spring, but regardless, I was getting an average of about 330 feet per second. When I first got the blaster, it was around 350 feet per second, but I've been shooting it at home all week and worn the spring in a bit, so 330 should be a more accurate number of what you'll get over a long period of time. As for range, well, right as I was about to film the range test, Paul got home, so I decided to give him the rangefinder, and I asked him to watch exactly where my shots land and go stand there, using me to get the distance and then shout the result out to me. First, let's do 3 shots level with the horizon.
Level shots. 46 meters. Next one should probably go the same.
47.
Seems pretty consistent.
Yep. 48.
All right, I'm going to step back and shoot arced.
Okay.
Went towards that tree. It may have even hit the leaves. Just in the shade, I think.
Oh, here you go. 64.
64. Giggity. All good.
So the maximum range with this suboptimal 50cm barrel with the 18 kilo spring was 69 meters, which is pretty impressive. But now let's see how accurate it is.
Now with the 18 kilo, because it shoots harder, exactly where my dot goes is where the dart goes. So I'm aiming dead center.
With the 18 kilo spring, all of the shots hit the target, but compared to the 14 kilo spring, the spread was a fair bit wider. Personally, I'll be using the 14 kilo spring with this blaster, yes because it's more accurate, but mainly because it shoots below the 300 FPS cap we play with, and it'll also put way less strain on my priming arm by the end of the day. The 14 kilo spring feels light as a feather, while the 18 kilo is definitely more of a workout. I think it would be interesting to see though how the 800mm barrel improves the accuracy with the 18 kilo spring next year when it releases. Using the M20 Construct today was an amazing experience. From the indestructible build quality to the buttery smooth priming action, the incredible distance it shot and tight groupings it had, this is by far the best blaster I've ever used to date. I do realise this blaster isn't for everyone though. The price tag is high. If you can justify it, the payment plan should make this more obtainable to a greater number of people, but ultimately it's up to you if you think it's worth the price. A Caliburn, for instance, will shoot the same velocity as this, but a Caliburn will break if you drop it, or it'll melt if you leave it in your hot car. With this video, I hope I've given you enough information to make that choice for yourself. Now, to end the video, I've just got some discussions I had with Paul about the blaster that I filmed using my GoPro. I'd just like to thank Paul again for letting me use his field to film my review. I'll be out here again next week to actually use this blaster against some other players. Also, thanks to Sabre for sending me this at a heavily discounted price. If you want to find where to buy this blaster, I'll leave a link to it down in the video description. Finally, and as always, thanks to you guys for watching these videos. Feel free to comment down below and get some discussions rolling about the M20 Construct. Comments and likes help spread the video to more people's YouTube feeds. That's all for this one, and I'll see you next time.
All the internals are all metal in this?
Yeah.
So it doesn't have like a similar sort of plunger setup as what the Caliburn?
Yeah, very similar, very similar
sort of plunger.
I did a breakdown of it, which in the video you'll be able to see what's inside of it.
Okay, right.
But yeah, for now, have fun.
And it feels quite sturdy with the, oh, even that close. Yeah.
Now I reckon just no, don't pull the trigger. Just push the.
No, I was going to push it forwards.
Yeah, just push it forwards. Yep. There you go.
So there's no feeding issues at all you had today?
No. Just aim dead center of the target.
Okay, and your scope's pretty spot on then?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
You can hear when they hit.
Yeah, yeah. And you've chronoed all this to see what it shoots at, didn't you?
Yeah, about 330 average.
330. And like a gel blaster, that'll take a little bit of time to bed in. The spring will drop feet per second.
Yeah, I think it already has. When I first got it, it was shooting like 350 with that spring. Okay. And I think it's worn in now about 330.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's it.
Well, thank you for letting me come out and use your field to do this review.
Oh, no worries. Thanks for bringing your brass out so I can have a look at it.
Well, I'll bring it out next weekend too and shoot some people with it.
Yeah, see how it goes on the field. Oh, it looks quite nice. Yeah. Definitely feel the weight of though.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, I can see your arm being absolutely...
Well, I'll probably drop it back to the weaker spring so I'm not hurting my arm as much.
Right.
That's shooting over your cap too.
Over 300
so
feet
I'll
a
drop it
second.
down to the 250. I think it does with the weaker spring.
Okay,
Now it's worn in.
250 seems not too bad. Yeah, it looks very sturdy though. I like the metal rail on top. That's a good add as well.
Yeah, and inside as well, it's got an aluminium like backbone to it inside as well. That all those screws on both sides
running down
go
there.
into.
So that extra support all the way along there. Yep.
Yeah, and then inside here with the priming, it's got that bottom rail, but also above the barrel is another one. So it's just so smooth.
Ah, so you don't get any flex on
none at all.
No flex on there. So that's one thing I did notice with the heavy spring on the.
No, I can't wobble. You try wobbling it.
No, oh hell no, no. That's one thing I did notice with putting the heavier spring in the Nexus Pro. As I'm cocking it back, I can feel the whole thing just twisting. So as I try to prime it back, I try to hold it more sturdy.
And inside the end of the barrel here, it's got its own rifling in there.
That was the other question.
You don't have to add an attachment or anything.
But it's not adjustable though, is it?
No, but it's set. They've dialed it into the particular barrel length and
the rifling actually looks pretty complex as well. Like it's not a gradual. It's not a gradual rifling. You know, like on your scar blast, you know, that'll be about at least 3 or 4 clicks, I reckon.
Yeah, on the Blaster Tech, yeah.
On the Blaster Tech.
Well, I normally found that about 4 clicks on the Blaster Tech was ideal anyway.
Okay.
So
yeah, I've
that's
just got mine set on too.
they've come to the same conclusion with that one.
Yeah.
So that there is just an AEG motor grip that I got from a Gel Blaster store. It doesn't come with a grip on it, but there's 2 screws go up in there into the part of the shell that's designed for it. And also the front grip, it doesn't come with a front grip either. That's just a Picatinny rail, so you can put any grip that you like onto it.
Did you have to modify this to make it fit?
Yeah, so this particular Gel Blaster must be a bit tighter on the connection point, whereas this was wider, so I had to sand out and use a file as well, just to loosen that up a bit so it would fit on. But yeah, there's a bit of variation in your Gel Blasters and your Airsoft and all those kind of grips, that they're not all compatible with each other, so that's a downside of it not coming with one. But they have designed a 3D printed one that you can print out yourself, and that fits straight on perfectly. The main reason they don't ship it with the grips is because that could be considered by customs as an Airsoft part, and so that could, the grip by itself could prevent this getting into the country, and the rest of the blaster does not. So it's just a safety precaution from them from a shipping standpoint. But also it means you get to buy whatever grip you want, so it's another little benefit of that.
It's good you found something that was pretty much the same sort of colour as well.
Yeah, I'm surprised how close they actually matched in colour, because this is an automotive paint job. They called it Quicksand, and he sent me a photo of it. I'm like, okay, I'll find a grip that looks close to that. And of course the product photo isn't always as close to the real thing, but that turned out pretty damn close, I'd say.
Yeah, I didn't realise until I saw that.
Yeah, that's just a Gel Blaster grip.
Gel Blaster, I'm thinking, you know, what, it's supposed to have some sort of...
We're very lucky that the Gel Blaster parts themselves are not considered a firearm. It's only when it's fully assembled as a Gel Blaster.
And you know, you undo those 2 screws and you've got all the access in to get up into those 2
Yeah, there's nothing in there, obviously, no motor, so just straight up in there. So Paul just asked about the trigger. This is an aluminium trigger. I don't think they normally come with this one, they just upgraded me to the metal one. Aluminium sear, so that's what holds your piston back when the spring's compressed. Aluminium mag release, and the barrel overall total length is 50 centimeters, but they told me that that's only for the 14 kilo spring. When you're using the 18 kilo, which we just used, you're meant to be using a longer barrel that's coming out next year, which is going to be, I think they said 800 millimeters, so 80 centimeters, almost a meter.
You'll be able to get a good sniper look out of it then as well, won't you?
They actually said the accuracy would be worse with the 18 kilo because the barrel's so short. I thought it was all right, but I'd say the accuracy was a little better with the 14. But yeah, that's just a matter of too much muzzle blast from the shorter barrel.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah, you've got no holes to vent it, to vent your muzzle blast that hits the hop up like you do with the scar barrel.
The air does get out around the electrical tape, I found. If I put my finger over there and pull the trigger, the air does leak out and I can hear it hiss out of there.
Is there actually holes there along the side? Is there? Like little
it's just the fact that electrical tape is not airtight.
Okay. So this barrel actually slides into the other one then, does it? It's actually a separate piece?
No, that's just your fishing line straight through that barrel, which is the entire barrel.
Right.
They've just drilled holes straight through the whole thing, done the scar barrel in there, so that's your fishing line is under that electrical tape. And the barrel unscrews out just by rotating. So I can show you the total length.
That's simple if you ever want to change, isn't it?
So when they bring out the longer barrel, when you change your spring, you'll be able to change the barrel to get higher velocities and better accuracy. That threaded part's just grub screwed on.
So I gather there must be a reasonably good seal that goes up into here then?
Yeah, so just pull the breech back slightly and you can see there's an O-ring there.
Yeah.
And that seals inside your barrel.
Yep.
And that cutout bit on there is actually to stop darts from, because the air seal's so good, they get sucked against the bolt as you load a dart, and that reduces your velocity and causes all sorts of issues. They call that vacuum loading. So that slot there just lets the air escape but not go past the O-ring. So it's fully closed.
That's interesting.
I think a gel blaster nozzle has a similar thing, doesn't it? That has little holes on the side or slots?
Yeah, that's right, yep.
Yeah, to take it down you have to undo all these bolts, which because they use a nut instead of like a plastic screw post, it can't really be stripped like a plastic Nerf gun can. But the downside is when you undo them, the nuts will fall out, so you have to push them back in and then tighten them down, which does take a bit longer. So it took me probably 20 minutes or so to fully disassemble it and put it back together.
Was there a YouTube video you could watch or something to
Yeah, so the creators SABRE have on the YouTube channel Conrad SG, who's the creator of this, has a complete tear down and reassembly guide and maintenance guide on it that goes for about 20 minutes. Thankfully I didn't have to refer to at all when I did it, but I did watch it through once about a week ago. So this plate, I forgot about this plate on the front here, but this is actually the serial number. I've got the 19th one that they ever made, and the QR code, I have no idea where it goes to. I assume it just goes to their product page of their website.
You haven't tried it there then?
No, I haven't tried it. Could try it, I guess. Tap here to go to Sabre, sabresg.com. So it just takes you to the main page of their website.